End of day 11 here in Paris and the action rolls on. Once again joined by two-time Olympian and world champ James Magnussen. And mate, a fella, I'll tell you now, not just a great journo, but a great bloke. Love his company over here, Crash Craddock. Hey, Crash, how you going,
you're
mate?
too kind. I thought there must have been another one. Nice to be here, Matty. Thanks, Jimmy. Enjoyed your company.
Boys, Crash, you've been a Queenslander. 14-year-old Arisa Trew wins the gold medal in the skateboarding, our youngest Olympian of all time.
Yeah, look, I got to admit, no one thought they would ever beat Sandy Morgan's record of being just older than 14 when she won gold in a relay in 1956. People thought that'd stand forever. But Matty and Missile, grade 9 at school, and you win a gold medal. Imagine coming back, where you been? Oh, the Olympics. I won a gold. What have you been up to? Oh, it's extraordinary. But what did it say about pressure? I mean, the fact that she was as cool as you like in that last run. It was almost as if she was insulated from pressure. And early in the day, as you said, we had the Boomers, didn't we?
Oh, we did. The Boomers. Boomers up against Serbia, who are a powerhouse side. We led it by 24 points at one point in the game. Got ran down. When Paddy Mills scored right on full time to take it to extra time, we lost 95-90. I'll tell you what it is. We spoke about this before, Missile. They're a side, the Boomers, in my opinion, that are very good underdogs, and that's why they started so well. But the moment they got 24 points clear, they took the gas.
And what you were saying about pressure, they crumbled. Let's be candid about it. And a couple of hours later, a 14-year-old comes out and was utterly nerveless. That's life.
Probably the two contrasting methods in Olympic Games. You've got the blissful ignorance of youth, where the moment almost isn't acknowledged because it's so out of the realm of possibilities for a 14-year-old. And then you've got an overthinker of an experienced player who's been in the NBA coming back to an Olympic Games and understanding the gravity of the situation and not being able to handle it.
Righto, boys, what we're going to do today, because at the moment, the big story is track and field, every day and every night. We're going to do a 5-to-1 favourite and best, we believe, track and field athletes of all time. Crash, you lead off. Who's your number 5?
Well, I'll go Michael Johnson, number 5, from the United States of America. 200 metres and 400 metres, master of those things, but particularly the 400. His record still stands. I've got to say, he wasn't the most endearing character. Cold, upright, and
I've got a story on that.
a bit arrogant. You get into that.
Yeah.
Carl Lewis at 4, the indomitable showman, 9 Olympic medals, barely needs an explanation. If you haven't got him on your list, I reckon you've got the wrong list. Number 3 is a story I love. Bob Beamon, who put together the single greatest performance in the history of athletics, the standout performance, when he, in long jump in Mexico, he beat the world record by 23 inches. Now, if you beat a world record in long jump by that, people say, hey, wow, they beat it all that way. He beat it by that. It was measured by a steel pole which had a washer on it, and they would move the washer up. But guess what happened? The washer fell off the end of the pole, it was that long. He was so excited by it that when he got out of the pit, he started breathing it randomly and just his whole body almost melted. It was extraordinary. It took Mike Powell to catch him up a decade or so ago, but that was just, that's a great story. Usain Bolt, what can you say? Well, and it wasn't just his 100. It was what he brought to the code. He would go up in the press box after he won 100 and look at bloke stories. The guy from the Jamaican Gleaner would be typing and he'd say, oh, do you want another quote?
I tell you what, he was great at Central Coast Mariners as well. We forget that, don't we?
That's right.
The first time he felt his feet, I think he tripped over the ball.
Yeah, that's right.
He always, you can't be good at everything, Craig.
No, that's right.
Listen to Joey's commentary. I'm only joking. Andrew, I'm only joking.
Your face was serious for about half a second. It was. You meant that, didn't you?
No, I didn't, Craig.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
And number 1, the drum roll. Look, Jesse Owens, the great black American sprinter, he set 3 world records in 45 minutes. One afternoon at a carnival. You know, the 100, 200 long. I mean, that's just mind-blowing. Smoked a packet of cigs a day. How did he do that?
They were lung busters.
Yeah, back in the day where they were lung busters, In an era where black men were treated really poorly, he had no sponsors. How did he do it? I couldn't contemplate putting anyone ahead of him as number one after what he went through. Of course, he won in the shadow of Adolf Hitler in Germany. Yeah. You think of the pressure. As a black man, he had to raise money by racing horses and cars. His story was absolutely damn busting. He's one of the athletes. It stretches beyond athleticism. So he was my clear number one, James Magnussen.
Jimmy?
Number 5, you're going to see my list heavily influenced by the Sydney Olympics. That was the first Olympics I ever remember watching. Of course, I was young and impressionable at the time, so heavy influence here. And you're going to see some generational differences, I'm sure, between the three of us. So I've got number 5, Kathy Freeman. The race of a lifetime, the race of the Olympics, the race of the decade, century, whatever you want to call it. That 400 metres in Sydney, and she did it with the full suit as well, which just added that little bit of extra pressure.
Lit the cauldron, you know, like you just go, man,
Number 4, Maurice Green. Again, young and impressionable at the Sydney Olympics. I remember the swagger of Maurice Green when he walked out. He had the big earrings, he was jacked up. He won that 100 metres in Sydney, and I was just mesmerised by him.
Well, I tell you, I was at that day at the 100, right? So he finishes and he's strutting around, crowd's going mad. He pulls his spikes off, and the crowd anticipation, and he throws them into the crowd. Everyone's going, then they realise they're spikes.
I got him on my hands,
my number 3 from that same game, Matty Johns.
Oh, wow.
She was the darling of track at the time. I just remember the winning margin in that 100 metres at the Sydney Olympics. She was a beautiful runner, beautiful person. Obviously, things came a bit undone towards the end of the career. But
I'll tell you the first thing that came undone. Did you see the husband or the boyfriend at the time? Mate, honestly, he's built like a beanbag. Talk about back novas.
I think that's who brought her undone in the end.
But she spent 6 months in jail, didn't she, for drugs? So that doesn't affect you. You're comfortable with that. I know you're in the enhanced game, but to be serious, like you're still comfortable with that?
I go off athletic performance. Yeah. My number 2, Michael Johnson, the robot. Loved his technique, loved those massive biceps and shoulders as he came around the corner. And my number 1, Usain Bolt. The triple, 100, 200, 4x1 at 3 Olympics. May never be done again. I believe the greatest athlete in history.
You met him? How are you saying?
Yeah, questionable. No, I've had a couple of nights on the sauce with Usain.
What's he like? In all honesty, what? Tell me something about him.
I can't tell you the stories I've told Matty.
Keep it down, guys.
He's a bigger than life personality. I think Usain Bolt probably doesn't lift a finger to do many things in life anymore, but he's a lot of fun. But he also comes with a group of about 5 other Jamaican blokes, so you don't get Usain on his own, you get Usain and his crew. A lot of fun, but I'd say small doses.
Yeah. Mate, my number 5, Michael Johnson. Tell what's funny about Johnson, you said that, he actually turned his palms up and he'd run like that, and your arm, they say that your arm length dictates your stride, and it was all that shuffling stride. He was so different to everybody else. Ray Martin classes him as the worst interview he's ever done. He came out for the Goodwill Games. He said he was in a testy mood to start with, and then Ray, broadly, not personally, asked him about the impact of performance-enhancing drugs on athletics. He took it personally, and things got... It's a really tough watch. It's pretty hardcore. My number 4, Sergei Bubka, who was represented the USSR in pole vault. Bubka was Ukrainian. Just an amazing, really, mate, good-looking, charismatic guy. As I've said before, USSR, but a Ukrainian hero. But what's really interesting, he moved into politics, and after moving into politics at the moment, he's enduring at the moment a very difficult time. He's been accused of being basically a bit of a stooge for the Russian government. So
interesting.
Yeah, we might get back to sport.
I marked him down because he only won one Olympic gold, but World Championships he cleaned up, Matty, didn't he? Yeah, but
incredible.
Just the one goal.
Yeah. Usain Bolt, number 3. Yeah. I can't add anything more than you blokes did. Number 2, Edwin Moses.
Yeah.
Yeah, the greatest 400-metre hurdler. just moved like just so smooth. Is there a harder event in athletics than the 400 hurdles?
Yeah, I think that energy zone, the lactic acid, plus having to jump over the hurdles in that last straight, hardcore stuff.
And number one is Jesse Owens. Because I think, like Muhammad Ali, there's some people that transcend sport. And to do it at the Berlin Olympics, to do it at the Nazi Olympics, Hitler's Olympics, and really shove it up the arse of the, shove it up the backside of the nuts and said something. And what's really, there's one of my favourite stories in sport around that. The irony is he won a lot of those gold medals in this revolutionary new shoe, Spike, invented by these two young brothers who were Germans, Adolf Dassler and Rudolf Dassler. Now what happened after that was really, really interesting. The Dassler boot was famous worldwide. Rudolf got conscripted to go to the war, fought World War II. He was actually a prisoner of war for a while from the Allies. When he came out, he was very knocked around, as you'd imagine, and he believed that his brother Adolf had conspired to get him into the war. So they fell out horrendously. So what he said, I'm going to bury the Dassler brand. He went across the river in Stuttgart and started a brand called Puma.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah, it's
Puma.
Yeah, Puma. And it's really funny if you look, till the day both of them died, they were always trying to one-up each other. You understand that Adolf sort of changed his name to Addy. Yeah, that name was come with a fair stigma, so it became Adidas, Dassler. Yeah, so till the day they died. You look at the 1970 World Cup final in soccer. As it's about to kick off, Pelé takes his Puma boot off and relaces it. So it's
magnificent.
yeah,
What a
that's
lovely
what
story.
It's a great story.
Just on spikes, you would have seen the bronze medalist Fred Curley in the 100 metres.
Yep.
So leading into this game, he was sponsored by ASICS, signed a deal for $2 million USD per year. Fred Curley, bronze medalist, got to the trials this year, the US Olympic trials, decided he didn't like the feel of the spikes, so wore Nike, and they tore up his contract for $2 million.
Wow.
Mate, it's what I say to young footballers: don't take the cash, okay, to wear the boot that suits your feet. They're all very, very different.
Now, Matty, I wanted to ask you something about, we were talking yesterday about Naomi Fox, and I noticed you got a little bit emotional when talking about her relationship with Jess and her gold medal. Can you delve into that a bit for me?
Missile, because I'm a parent, first of all. Yeah, a parent, you understand how proud you would be. But also to be a parent of two kids that are in professional sport and the extra complexity that brings. Now, when you're a parent and your children in professional sport, particularly two, you just don't get any clear air. You don't. There's always one that's up and one that's down. It is always the way. You're looking, one's having a great day, the one's having a bad day. And it's, for a parent, it is just so tough. You know, there was one time, a funny, well, I'll give you the best example, right? My two boys last year played each other at Mudgee. Newcastle versus Manly at Mudgee, and it was special for us because my mother and my grandmother are Mudgee girls. My grandmother was a publican there, and so it was really nice. And I thought, my God, my two, this occasion for the family, and they're playing against each other. And everywhere I went, they were like, "Okay, who's going to win?" Now for me it was piss take, but I was saying, "Oh, I've already read the script. It's going to go into Golden Point. It's going to end up a draw." Well, it went into Golden Point, end up 32 all.
That's right. Yeah.
Wow.
It was unbelievable. But what happened, Crash, is that Jack probably had his best game in first grade, and Cooper had one of his many stinkers, right?
He says with incredible ability.
No, but Jack played a great game. Cooper struggled, and they both come off together, right? And they said, "Can we get a photo?" And I've got I've got it here on my phone, and there they are.
Yeah.
They get there, we'll show it. And there they are standing together at full time, and you can
Yeah.
see Jack's he's beaming,
Yeah.
and Cooper's got a real strained smile.
Yeah.
But I walk off, and they come over to me, and I grab Jack and I say, "Good on you, mate." I said, "That's the best. You deserve that. You worked your ass off." Then I turned to the other bloke, and he's sitting there, and I went, "You did okay, right?" And he said, "No, I played shit." I said, "No, mate, you did okay." And you're going one to the other. Now, the Fox parents, Jess's rise and her success, I can only imagine how proud they were. It must have been unbelievable. But they would have had one eye on Naomi as well. As Jess is becoming this amazing Olympic legend, you've got the younger sister trying to forge her own path, dealing with expectation, dealing with pressure, all that stuff. I reckon yesterday, her winning that gold medal, I've got no doubt that was the greatest moment in that family's life.
Wow. And how do the relationships between Jess, who I think looks after Naomi a bit, did you find the same thing with Joey? Like, compare the relationships. How did you feel you were his keeper?
You do, being the oldest sibling. I think only an older sibling knows the dynamic. And you look at oftentimes the older siblings are sort of more, they carry more on their shoulders. The youngest sibling is sort of freestyle, they're freewheeling for whatever reason. And you become like a second father with myself and Andrew. And I remember when Andrew was a kid and he was playing under 15s at Newcastle. And I remember he got this terrible disease in his legs, and he could barely run. And it was undiagnosed for a long time. And it was osteoarthritis, which a lot of people get. And before he was diagnosed properly, he was playing 15s for the Knights. And I remember people would laugh when he was trialling, going, look at this kid, he's so slow, he can barely move. And I remember being the older brother, watching him, and the pain that caused me. And nearly getting into fights with people. Fair play to David Waite. David Waite was the coach at the junior development at the time, and he said, I know the kid can barely run. We don't know if he's got much going for him as far as football, but to go out and do that with what he's endured, we're going to sign him. And so sort of coming through the grades, you are always the older brother. You're always that way. You're always worried about him all the time, even though he doesn't give a about you. Yeah. So my warning to Jess.
Matty, we're all interested. It's such a fascinating, the dynamic between you and Joey. Where is it at the moment? Like the Fox sisters were talking about how it's gone back and forth and ebbed and flowed.
It's funny, Crash. Okay. This sort of completes the circle. My oldest son, Jack, such a great kid. Really, he worries about the family too much. Worries about it. Dad, you drink too much. All that sort of stuff, He's taken over Trish. He's a drink anyway. But he's that sort of kid. Cooper's sort of freewheeling. But anyway, Jack says, "What? I don't like what's going on between you and Uncle Joey. I don't like it. It's not right." I'm so we're brothers, and that. He goes, "No, it's not right." So one day I'm sitting there and on the lounge, and it's a Sunday afternoon, I think it was. I'm having a couple of beers, and he goes, "Do you want to go for a drive, Dad?" I didn't really want to. I was, watching a movie. I said, "Okay, let's go for a drive." So we hop in the car, and we're driving. Where are we going? And we're driving. We're going over the Spit Bridge. Mate, where are we going? As we went over the Harbour Bridge, I knew where he was taking me. So I'm sitting out the front of him in the car, and I said, "Mate, come on," And he said, "Get the up there." So I went, "Okay." I got the lift up, and he knocked on the door and opened it up, and he went, "Yep," and I give Joey a big cuddle.
Really?
Yep. And he did that. Now, since then, we and Joey, a little bit. There's still a bit of ground to make up, but you're always brothers.
Yeah. What a great story.
Great to hear.
Yeah. Matty, I appreciate you sharing that story because it was a real insight.
Hope the family don't mind.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there going, anyway.
Yeah.
Crash, I want to hear from you. This is my first Olympic Games on the ground covering it. We're 11 days in, and I'm zonked. I've left a little bit of my soul on the dance floor, but also trying to report, trying to do these shows, crosses to radio. How do you do it, mate?
That's what I love about the Olympics, though. It takes all you've got. And there are some days you're walking along and you think, they used to have sleeping rooms at the Games. And when I first saw them, I burst out laughing. Oh, who's sleeping at the Games? By day 4, who was the first in there? But it strips you naked. It exhausts you. But that's the glory of it, isn't it, Matty? Like it's sort of being vulnerable, being open-minded.
You nearly called me Andrew there.
I did.
Not the first, won't be the last.
I saw the eyebrows go up. I saw the dukes go up.
You know what, Crash? I've been completely taken out of my comfort zone. I know rugby league inside out, right? But to come here,
Yep.
and well, I understand what. I've got newfound respect for journalism, for guys like you. But to come over here, not knowing little things, just little things, you know, McKeon, all those little having to work. Yeah, it's not so much the long hours. It's just covering sports that you don't know that well. And I'll tell you, mate, one of the highlights has been knocking around with Missile. Missile's been unbelievable. We get on fantastic. He's such a great bloke. But to sit in the stands at the swimming, and him just talk me through everything that's going. It's been incredible.
Wonderful.
It's been a lot. It's been hard work, but it's been a lot of fun.
One more big show to go, boys. What are we doing tomorrow?
Well, I tell you what we're going to do tomorrow, Crash. Missile and I, we're going to travel around Paris, and we're just going to give people a bit of a guide into when they come to Paris, what they should do. When you come to Paris when you're in your middle age, or you come to Paris when you're in the 20s and 30s, I'll do the middle age stuff. Missile can do the Kentucky tour.
The Moulin Rouge, man. I love
Yeah,
it.
that's it.
Yeah.
Boys, love it. Let's go for a beer.
Can't get this quick enough. Thank you.